When I was born in 1970 and I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, basically my mother was a teenager and my father was a teenager. And my mother, obviously, none of them had the ability to raise a child. My mother made it very clear she wasn't interested in being a mother, and my grandmother stepped in and became my caretaker. But at the age of 7, that's when my life changed drastically because my grandmother became sick with throat cancer. I was removed from my home and placed in foster care. There, I was abused physically, mentally, and emotionally. I was labeled with a learning disability, behavior disorder, emotional disorder. I went through 8 different group homes, reformatory schools. I was placed in a state hospital. So I've been in a padded room, straitjackets, leather restraints. When I turned 17, I was released from the largest youth facility in the state of Missouri, and I was sent home. That was my senior year. And one thing I've always been good at was sports. And so I played basketball, and I excelled to where I was offered some scholarships. But the sad part about it, I didn't know what scholarships were. No one thought I was college material, and I never visited a college campus. I was more comfortable going to jail than I was college, and was prepared for that because most people predicted I would be dead or in jail by the time I was 18. And I decided that maybe the Army could be a possible avenue for me to be successful. I passed the written and physical exam to join the Army. The next day, I got on a bus to celebrate, and that's when I got in a confrontation with the starting point guard on my basketball team. And I thought we were gonna get it in a traditional fist fight and threw up my guards. Next thing I know, he pulled out a .357 Magnum and shot me 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. Those 3 bullets, he shot a hole in my neck, in my hand, and my leg, and that's what paralyzed me. After I was shot and went through ICU, rehab, I was told that I was a C6, which is pretty high level spinal cord injury. And basically they told me I would never walk again. What was big in my mind was getting this person back, more so because of perception and what other people would think. So I wanted to either kill the guy that put me in a wheelchair or at least put him in a wheelchair. And that's what me and my family planned to do for about a year and a half. During this time, I grew up religious, so I knew of God. I went to church on a regular basis, but I never had a personal relationship with God. But I was frustrated that I ended up in a wheelchair by way of a gunshot, because most people assume because I was an African-American male and I got shot, I was involved in gangs or involved as a drug dealer, and that bothered me, that it had to happen that way. So one day I went to God and just asked, why me? I done been through a lot, why this? And basically, he told me, if you don't accept me, no matter what you've been through, no matter how challenging it's been, you will spend eternity in hell. And what I promise you is eternal life and peace and understanding while you're here on this earth. But you will go through fiery trials. And so, with salvation comes forgiveness. That's part of salvation. You gotta forgive in order to be forgiven. And so I had to forgive the guy that shot me. So I ended up forgiving the guy that shot me, and I've been in this wheelchair for over 25 years. And 20 of those years, we were friends until he lost his life a couple of years ago. When I was growing up and I realized that a lot of people didn't believe in me, and it frustrated me even more that they didn't believe in me, and they didn't even know me and didn't even give me a chance to be successful or thought I was worth investing in. And I wanted to prove them wrong. I decided to go to a community college. And so I drove 5 miles each way at night in my wheelchair, just taking classes with the hopes that this education could potentially be an avenue to success. And I saw something I'd never seen in my life, and it was an African-American male using his mind to be successful. I sought God intentionally to find out what my purpose was in life, and once he revealed it to me, I knew that I would be working with youth for for the rest of my life. And what God basically told me was, take these same youth and disciple them, mentor them, a small group, and have a multiplier effect. And so when they become successful, they become leaders, not only in their families, but in their communities. The tools that we use to reach the kids in higher impact are more so exposure. It's the socialization, because a lot of our kids come from an environment to where they're very limited. And in their minds, they come to conclusions what they can and cannot do out of ignorance. So what we do is expose them, especially because we believe that they're leaders and thinkers. We don't invest in these kids because of where they come from, because you had a bad life. We invest in them because we believe in where you're going. So we let our kids know it's not me, it's the God in me that allows me to care for you and to be there for you, and that we believe in you. I can't even explain the success and the change I've seen in the youth that I've been blessed to work with. And we just got a lot of young people that are just getting up every day, going to work, taking care of their family, and realizing that they can be successful with God in their lives. They could be successful and reach their goals in ways that are not illegal, unethical, or immoral. I always tell people that when your passion and your profession and your purpose line up, you're spoiled. I'm blessed to be at peace with who I am and the condition and the state that I'm in. And to know that you can make a mistake and not be perfect and you're still all right. God doesn't deal with perfect people. He deals with passionate and committed believers.